we have an open road now. Come, let's pull it hard. What's up YouTube? Welcome to the detailed review of the Duke 250. So again, 2-3 days with the motorcycle, and here I am with my review. I know that I'm taking motorcycles like clearing areas in engineering. The thing is, like, I don't really get motorcycles when they get launched, but whenever someone register motorcycles for the test ride, I really go and check it out. So without wasting much time, let's get into the detailed review. I hope you might have seen my Duke 200's video. Actually, this is done back to back. I was riding Duke 200 for 2-3 days, then I picked the 250. So absolutely, I have to say that I'm loving this motorcycle, always in the Duke family, be it the 200, 250 or the 390. I have a personal feeling, or I have personal affection towards the Duke 250, basically the 250 engine. I'll explain it on the go. Before that, let's look at the styling. So the new one gets the Duke 390 kind of styling. I believe that it's kind of a marketing technique because Duke 250 was having a different kind of headlight before, and they want to bump up the sales of the 250. Now almost the 390 and the 250 looks same from this angle. 390 has the additional TFT screen and all, and yes, of course it has a bigger engine as well. But yes, in order to attract more customers, KTM has given the LED headlights, all LED headlights on this motorcycle. It looks neat, it looks perfect on the motorcycle, no complaints about it, and it's quite functional as well for highway riding and all. But if you're going for off-roads, as I told in my Duke 200 video, you might need to look forward for a auxiliary lamp. And coming on to this area and all, the build quality looks amazing. I really don't have any complaints about it. I really couldn't find any problem with the build quality and all, even though there are some exposed wires over here, but still they all are tagged up very nicely. And coming on to the tail section, we have the new KTM setup, the tail section here. The grab rails are like really wide compared to the previous versions of KTM's, so that's a nice touch as well. The tail light looks very neat and clean. So let's get on to the motorcycle and get the feel of the motorcycle. So hopping on the motorcycle, it's a slightly taller motorcycle. I don't say it's a too tall motorcycle and all. For my height, it is slightly tall. I have planted foot on one side, kind of tiptoeing on the other side. And the riding posture is like, the upper body is completely upright, the lower body has a lot of sportiness. Even though the foot peg is underneath you and you keep your leg like this, you get a lot of sportiness while shifting the gear and all. You always feel that sporty kind of feel. The handlebar is actually really wide. I get a really good confidence over the handlebar. And on the handlebar, you have all the basic switches. I don't want to walk you through all these things, but let's look into the instrument cluster of the Duke 250. It looks a bit outdated, but I feel this is okay because I am not that kind of a guy who wanted all TFT screen over here and all. What I want is, like, if it is carrying all the information, I'm happy with it. So what this has is basically all information what you can ask for, except the Bluetooth connectivity. So this is the tachometer, this is the gear position indicator, the speedometer, the odometer, 2 trip meters, and there are a hell lot of other things here, like fuel consumption, I mean the running fuel consumption, the tank range, and the details about the trip, like how long you have been riding on this trip and all. It comes with dual channel ABS. Even then you can disable the ABS on the rear wheel so that you can have the supermoto mode, and you have time over here, and the heat level indicator and the fuel level indicator. That's all. I really don't see that the KTM is missing something as well. It has a side stand indicator and a sensor. So the main difference between the Duke 200 and the 250 is that the 200 is actually very raw. It's slightly intimidating. On the other side, the 250, even though it has a bigger engine, it's not that intimidating. That's what I liked as well. I'll show the power delivery when we reach the highway. Before that, let me make you hear the exhaust sound. Very sweet, very mellow, which is very unlike for a KTM machine. But yes, that's how it sounds. So let's hit the highway. By the way, I'm making a different pure sound video for this motorcycle as well. You can check it out on the channel. So yes, we are back on highway. So that's Duke 250's engine. So I'm pretty sure that you might be quite surprised to see how did I pull the motorcycle like that. Generally I used to rev it to the nuts, but today I didn't do that because this motorcycle is actually not that kind of a character. It's not the type you are looking for. So as I told, the 200 and the 390 has a different character altogether. It's a very rough motorcycle. On the other side, the 250 is very soft. It's very subtle in nature, and I have to say that it's kind of a lazy machine as well. So when we actually rev it to the nuts, I'll show that to you anyway. the low and the mid RPM has okay kind of power. I don't say that it's too much. So if you have to get that feel of riding a KTM, then I'll say you have to be on the top rev ranges itself. So until then, it's a very lazy machine. But the good part is this has a lot of refinement when you compare with the 390 and the 200. Open road. That's what it is. You can see the RPMs climbing there. So the engine is like very mellow. In the low and the mid RPM, it's very sweet, and only on the top end you'll get that punch over the throttle. Now coming to the riding ergonomics and all, as I mentioned, I have a completely upright riding posture, which means that actually I'm getting a lot of wind blast, but it's kind of okay. This motorcycle is not going that insanely fast and all. The wind blast is kind of manageable, but if you can find a taller windscreen, that'll be good for you, especially if you're looking for a touring motorcycle. And the other things are like, and this motorcycle comes with good profile tires. I don't say the tire on this motorcycle is good. Personally, I feel that this motorcycle deserves a better tire, but the profile is good so that you can switch to Metzeler's or Pirelli anytime. When it comes to the braking and all, it has absolutely nice brake. I don't have any trouble with it. What I can say is that whatever speeds this motorcycle can reach, the brake will be able to handle it, so no problem. And when it comes to suspension actually really handles it well. It is slightly stiffer. I don't say that it's too much stiffer and all, but it can handle bad roads as well. The reason why I'm telling this, because when I was coming from Bangalore, thankfully that we have lot of bad roads in Bangalore, I actually ran through a bad pothole which I couldn't avoid. So what really happened is that the motorcycle actually holded it well. I didn't even got a chance to stand on the foot peg. Before that, I just ran through the pothole. That pothole could have damaged my important parts of the body, but luckily nothing happened. The motorcycle was stable. The suspension actually soaked it up very well. So I'm really impressed with the suspension. And when it comes to the clutch and the gearbox, the clutch feel is like average, neither too soft nor too hard. You can really use it inside city without any trouble. And when it comes to the gearbox, typical KTM gearbox, you can feel that shift and all. There is no false neutrals. You can feel that each gear is falling onto its own place. And when it comes to the city usable point of view, there is slight heating. Actually, you can expect that from a 250cc high revving engine. It's not too much and all. It's not coming on to your important part of the body and all. It actually goes to the feet area and all. So if you are wearing a shoe, you won't be feeling that at all. And from a refinement point of view, I'll say that this motorcycle has a lot of refinement compared to the 200 and the 390. But when you really ring it hard, you'll face a slight amount of buzz on the foot peg and on the seat. But I don't see any vibration on the handlebar. But if you're cruising on highway and all, you won't really feel any kind of vibration. Currently, I am not feeling any buzz feel on the foot peg nor on the seat. And looking on to the ownership aspects of this motorcycle actually comes for 2,94,000 on road. I really don't know why the prices are going really high. It's not just with this motorcycle, okay? With every other motorcycle, it is going really high. I remember my friend bought a RC390 for almost 2.25 lakh or 2.3 lakh back in 2015. From then on, the taxes on the motorcycle has gone sky high. Every other motorcycle is like expensive, but yeah, I want to make a point that if you're feeling that the Duke 250 is expensive, it's not like that. Every other motorcycle price has been bumped. That's the reason. And after consulting with few owners, the mileage what they're getting is something like 30 km per liter inside city, which is like kind of a good mileage for this kind of a 250cc motorcycle. And on the highways, I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to get something like 30 to 35, which is really nice. And this motorcycle has to be serviced once in 7,500 kilometers and will cost you something like 2,500 to 3,000 rupees. So that's all with this rideability and the things which is related to the motorcycle. So now let's come to the verdict. Who will fit onto this kind of a motorcycle? So it's a very different engine, okay? I'm repeating this statement, I know that. It's a very different engine. So if you want a motorcycle to be ridden in a very sane way, let me correct that statement. If you want a KTM motorcycle to be ridden sanely, Duke 250 is for you. You can ride it inside city, but if you have a lot of city traffic, then you might have to shift a lot of gear, because as I mentioned, the low end torque is not that great. Even mid-range is also not that punchy when compared to the other 250cc's. So you might have to shift a lot, but this motorcycle will give you a lot of comfort. And when it comes to the highway, if you want to cruise at a speed of 80 to 100, good motorcycle. Surprisingly, the top end I could do is something like 133 or something, because the 5 gears are struggling a lot and the 6th gear is so lethargic that it didn't do anything. In the 5th gear itself it reached 133, and after that the 6th gear didn't contribute anything. Clearly the 6th gear is kind of a cruising gear for this motorcycle. We have an open road now. Come, let's pull it hard. Actually too much of crosswinds, that's why it's not climbing that much, and whatever the 5th gear can take it to, the 6th gear will just carry that speed, that's all. So yes, I was talking about the highway riding capacities. So definitely I'll be making a different touring review on this motorcycle, because I have many things to talk about. That's why I'm keeping it as a separate video. So that's it with this review. I hope this video is helpful for you, and as always, show some love in the form of likes and comments. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.